Sometimes you get to wear the top hat and monocle, and sometimes, you're leading somebody else to the soiree. So shout out to the Cats tonight. Cats in 5, getting it done, slaying the Tampa Bay Lightning giant as they move on to the second round. So very exciting times for the Panthers. Congratulations to them. But I do know most of you people come here for heat. So let us get to it. It was another putrid offensive performance today from your Miami Heat. 102-88, your final from Miami. Now 6 straight losses at the Kaseya Center for your Miami Heat in the playoffs. Jeez. I just got to say, that's that tastes like scoring in the 80s. Very disappointing. Because I did agree with a lot of what Stan was watching. It was not boots on the ground tonight. But so I was watching the national broadcast actually today, and I agreed. I thought the Heat were generating a lot of good looks today, especially in the first quarter. I thought the first quarter, the ops were there for Miami, man. The opportunities were there for Miami, and they couldn't hit water if they fell out of a boat. It was brutal to watch, and then on top of it, you just watched an all-time first quarter from Derrick White, who this dude he's just given the Heat nightmares over these last couple of seasons. He really has. I mean, from Game 6 last year where, he stuck it in everybody's heart, which would have, that would have been one, that goes along in the string of the losing streak at Kaseya. But, today, the Heat really had the door opened right there for them. I mean, they were not getting a good game from Tatum. They were not getting a good game from Jaylen Brown. And here you have Derrick White, who is just lighting it up from 3. It was literally like Derrick White was like Steph Curry if you threw Steph Curry in another era, but they had the 3-point line, and he's just blowing everybody. He was like the only person who had this tool at his disposal for the rest of the game. And he just murdered Miami today. I mean, just flat out, plain and simple. There's going to be things that I'm going to bitch about. Don't get me wrong. But this dude was such an assassin today and was far and away the Celtics' best player, to put them in a position to close this puppy out. And, yeah, it's just disappointing to see because, injuries aside, Miami's just been awful offensively all season long. I mean, they really have. They've been such an eyesore. It really, some of these games, it's been, you watch some of the other teams around the league and then you watch the Heat and you're just like, this doesn't feel like the same sport some nights, with how Miami would either have quarters where they score a mere 12 points like they did in the second quarter, or they would be up by 20 and then just let teams back in. And it wasn't even like a 3-point barrage. They would just go ice cold. And so all that stuff was magnified today because this in a lot of ways was, these two teams personified is that, yeah, they didn't get good games from their stars initially. Tatum had a couple of big plays there in the third quarter, obviously, where he has the monster poster slam where Miami, felt like they were defending their ass off and they were trying to make it respectable. And you go into into halftime and they're down, I think 17 or something like that. And you knew at some point a couple of baskets and a couple of misses from Miami, they were going to have a feeling like they were going to let go of the rope. And that's really what it felt like there in that third quarter. But that's kind of been the story of the series if the Heat can't hit threes. And, so it goes to show that, the anomaly that was game 2 looks more and more like that. But the thing with this one that was way different from, I feel like, game 3, I felt like game 3, Miami came in very laissez-faire, feeling themselves, throwing the ball all over the place. And, there was some of that, but I felt like more of their mistakes today were caused by Boston. But I also felt like Miami had opportunities to be in this game. And that really didn't happen up until like a little Boston letting their guard down in the fourth quarter, which we'll get to in a second because I do want to discuss this BS that happened there in the fourth quarter. But it was really, really tough to watch what Miami was what they were going through because they start off this second quarter. And, it's a fun atmosphere there today in the building. You got Messi in the building. You got Mike McDaniel in the building. You got Goran Dragic in the building. The stars were out. The stars were out to watch the Heat tonight. And for them to have to just, watch, this is what we got to watch here tonight? Yes, that's what you have to watch here tonight. And it was just brutal because in the second quarter where Miami is scoring, let's just look at some of these numbers from the second because they were. I think Bam was the only guy in the Heat to score multiple buckets in the second quarter. Miami was 5 of 22 in the second for 12 points, 1 of 7 from 3. That came from Caleb Martin, and that was his only shot. Bam was 3 of 6, 0 of 1 from downtown. Tyler, who got off to a nice start in this game, and then they really started having him turn the ball over a lot. The ball pressure bothering him, Derrick White hounding him, Drew Holiday hounding him. But, he goes 0 for 3 with a couple of turnovers in that second quarter. Jaime Jaquez had a couple of wide open threes, couldn't get either one to drop. Haywood Highsmith had an open 3, couldn't get it to drop. It's just brutal, man. It is. You just had that sinking feeling where, on their side, they are just able to get some easy looks, and you just can't get anything. And that added on top of a first quarter where I thought Miami genuinely got some good stuff, but Derrick White went nuclear. He scores 16 points, and you're only able to put up 24. So it was just it was back on the incline for Miami today. Been a whole thing that's been rough. Boston, the big news really in the second, aside from Miami being that bad on offense, was Kristaps Porzingis. He pulled up lame, non-contact injury where he, I guess, has some calf tightness, getting an MRI, but they don't fear Achilles. And they went this was another big discrepancy. They go into halftime, and Miami is 0 of 1 from the free throw line. Boston had already taken 12 free throws. So Miami was fouling a lot. And I didn't have a lot of issues with that. With the call discrepancy, Miami was just having a tough time going at the rim. They didn't impact their will at all, and that has been the biggest effect of not having Jimmy out there. Is they just haven't had anybody to be able to put their head down and generate that force at the free throw line. So they come into the third quarter. This is really where it kind of unravels for Miami. They're basically flirting with being down like 20 to 23 in this one, and this is really where the Heat start missing. And there was a series where Hero gets a miss, Derrick White just dunks through all the Miami Heat. Bam got a spinning bucket, but Derrick White comes back. He throws it down on Bam. Then Jaylen Brown, he goes down the court willy-nilly, puts them up 22. And that was really where I was like, I think this puppy's done. And Miami's not going to have a shot. And then Derrick White was, going off again. He was just cutting down the court and getting dunks and getting 3 balls. And then Bam had like a little run there at the end to just put it within striking distance, I guess we could call it. The Heat's down 81 to 59. So pathetic even calling it that. Meet Wile E. Coyote. So Bam had played 34 of 36 minutes at that point because Spo was just like, yeah, Kevin Love's not going to work out here. And there were a couple of things that annoyed me a little bit about the playing time today. Spo, like, all right, he was rats off a ship on Duncan. He played Duncan 3 minutes today. Played K Love 6. He played Nico He played Nico 16 minutes, and like, I don't care if he's a rookie, dude. Like, that's guy, I believe in his 3-point shot. You know, he was 1 of 4 today, but like, give him a couple more looks of some of the other guys who are just frightened to take it. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of him out there today. Certainly more than Patty Mills, who played 22 minutes. Yeah, whatever. So yeah, the Heat going down like that, they're down 21 going into the fourth. It feels very, very over. And then, kind of a little runski. Miami goes on. You know, the Boston does their classic, like, take the foot off the gas pedal. And so they relinquish a little bit, and Tyler Hero starts getting some buckets to go. But after they get to 15, then Drew Holiday hits a 3-pointer. And then Jason Tatum just throws down a dunk on Caleb Martin, which was, I mean, it was rough. It was a nasty, nasty dunk. Although Jason Tatum, it was the only cool thing he did in the game today, because we'll get to his lame ass here in a second. But after that, you know, Caleb Martin arose from the dead, comes back, and he hits a 3, so he gets Miami back to within, 17. Tyler then cuts it to 15, and then Bam goes right to the rim, and he gets it to 13. Timeout Boston. 5 minutes left, right? And then this is when the bullshit happens, right? This is when we get to some bullshit city. So, look, I want to be clear when I talk about this here for a second. All right, Boston? First of all, Boston, if you thought you were going to come here and you were going to drink on my tears, they're going to be salty, dude. So, fuck Boston. Welcome to the show. Second of all, Boston deserved to win today. Bar none. Derrick White killed the Heat. I'm not sure if the Miami Heat would have been able to mount a comeback. But, what the hell happened here at the 5:21 mark of this game? Patty Mills, dumbass fouls Derrick White. And Jason Tatum, after the whistle's clearly called, Jason Tatum tries to put up a practice shot. And Bam Adebayo, who, played his ass off today. He really did. I mean, out of everybody today, you could look around here, you're just like, a lot of bad offensive efforts out there from Miami. Bam today, 25 points, 17 rebounds, 5 assists. Really did everything that he could do. The only quibble you could maybe say is like, he should have shot more. And, even taking even more shots with the ineptitude on offense around here. But, anyway, Bam's playing his ass off, and Bam is playing hard. And mind you, the game had started. They had given this report that after the game, Bam had a team meeting right after the Game 3 loss, and there were, as they said, choice words in the meeting, and he's ripping everybody a new one, tells them to speak freely. Kevin Love apparently had some words to say. He's the captain of the team, right? And that's, usually not Bam's style. Like, that's something he's really grown into. But I thought that, his words followed. I thought he played his ass off today in 41 minutes. He gave Miami everything that he could today, especially, trying so hard to screen guys open and get them open, and, to just, 27% from 3 today. What are you gonna do? So anyway, getting to the play. Jason Tatum, there's a foul called, Patty Mills, whistle. Tatum throws over a practice shot. Bam kind of blocks it. And Tatum lands awkwardly, but also, like, it looks like Bam makes a little bit of contact. But Tatum is like, immediately goes for the ankle. Like, oh, my ankle. Oh. And it's like, all right, dude, you better be hurt. But it was his fault. Like, he had no reason to shoot that ball. The foul was clearly called. Not like he was going to get continuation. He just wanted to throw up a shot like a jackass. Now, mind you, this is the same team. Their head coach took pride this year in blocking a practice shot this year. Like, he's not going to let anybody get into a rhythm. So, once again, poor little baby Jason Tatum, who is the lamest. Like, you want to know how lame Jason Tatum is, right, dude? they're trying to build this dude into like the face of the league when he's not. Like there's a half dozen guys who like you would market instead of this guy, right? And even today, it's like, does he put the jugular on this game? No, Derrick White does. So anyway, there was a point in today's game. Boston is up 22 points. I think it was in the second quarter or the third quarter? Doesn't really matter. But they were up a lot. And Jason Tatum, it was in the third quarter. So they're up 22 at the time. And there's a rebounding foul called on Jason Tatum and Bam, between him and Bam Adebayo. And it should be noted, these two, very close friends, known each other for a very long time. These guys are very, very close. But, obviously they've had a lot of competitions. Bam is no fan of the Celtics. They're no fan of him. So Tatum does like the most douchebag move of like, oh, come on, Joe, review the tape. And it's like, there's no reason to. You're up 22 points. It's so obviously not going to be overturned. But poor baby Jason Tatum has to get his way. So, sweet baby prince of the NFL, of course. Your Royal Highness, we will give you the review. You deserve it, Jason Tatum. So now, in the midst of this of this game, I suppose at the podium. Nothing too juicy at the Spo press conference. By the by, he said that we're really, he's proud of the defensive effort, thinks that the team has an offensive performance in them, and that they really want to get back, to have a good performance in front of their fans. Which, yes, would be nice in the postseason. 6 straight losses in front of your home fans in the playoffs. That is unbelievably unsatisfying. And most of them at the hands of Boston. I mean, they have 4 of those 6. Because it started in last year's Eastern Conference Finals, and then 2 of them against the Nuggets. So, big challenges they give you. But, geez, you want to talk about wasting, taking back the home court advantage and completely wasting it for your Miami Heat. But anyway, let me whine a little bit about this Jason Tatum play. For the Heat having any bit of life sucked out of him by John Goebel, this hack, this bum. So, yeah, Jason Tatum takes a practice shot. Bam blocks him, and Jason Tatum falls to the ground, maybe a little shove-ski by Bam in the midst of it. But he acts like his ankle, like he was shot. He was fine. Didn't even land on Bam's ankle. It was a complete flop job. And Bam just keeps telling him, he's like, that's a flop. You fell for a flop. He flopped. And no, sweet baby angel, Jason Tatum, prince of the league. It looks like he's writhing in pain. Put Bam in front of Adam Silver, ban him for life for having the audacity to not let Jason Tatum practice basketball during a real basketball game. And they go to the review, takes forever. They come back and they give Bam a flagrant 1 call for a shot that happened after the whistle. And I'm like, dude, are you all the way fucking kidding me with this? A flagrant foul for a flop. This guy practicing basketball when he shouldn't be practicing basketball, and Bam being like, nah, dude, you're not getting in any kind of a rhythm. This game is kind of getting close. Which, by the way, their own coach has pulled this move before. This is not an uncommon move. Players getting a practice shots or getting a feel for things when action's not there. Nah, not happening, Playboy. And I imagine Bam's gonna be really pissed when he talks to the media about it. But just complete crap. Again, the Miami Heat were in that position. Fine, whatever. I'll hear the arguments. I'll hear the comments. I probably won't read the comments, but I'll hear the arguments and the badgering from Leroy. You should have been in that position. I'm not saying the Heat lost because of this, but that does not change the fact that it is complete bullshit that Jason Tatum gets a call like this for flopping and that it wasn't even a game or a play that was in play. They get 2 shots and the ball? For what? For what? Just completely ridiculous. So Tatum, of course, and by the way, Al Horford comes in like an oaf, hits Bam, Tech. It's the most sensitive team I've ever seen him leave, Boston Celtics. Hero then goes, yaks up the free throw, doesn't make it. Tatum comes down, hits his 2 free throws. Derrick White to the rim, and that was all she wrote. Not why they lost. Not why they lost. Doesn't suck any less. Doesn't make it any less crap than the things that they, allow this guy to get away with, and how everybody just bows to the throne of Jason Tatum. Done nothing, been nowhere, got saved by Derrick White today. And, yeah, that's it. So the Heat, they head to Boston. Not a great situation, Bob. Down 3-1, 2 games in the 80s. Spo says he feels like they have a great offensive game in him. I would love to see it. Also, by the way, apparently Jaime's banged up, so add that to the list of, so I guess we'll get more Patty Mills minutes. John Coble. Bum.